In their resolve to prevent a recurrence of the events of 2007 and 2008, the political masters created 2 electoral management bodies in succession. Unfortunately, the IEBC, the Permanent Electoral and Borders body, was only functionally created less than 3 weeks ago, or just 3 weeks ago. Now, if the Constitution is interpreted as it stands, that means that this body has some 8 months to get going. This body will have to run elections of a complexity not seen in this country before, with 6 contemporaneous elections, 47 legislatures at local level, 1 at national level, leading to the formation of another at national level, and the election of the chief executive of state. With barely, quite possibly barely 8 months to go, you are facing a very high mountain indeed. And I say you, addressing not the electoral management body, because they're merely the tool that the people of Kenya have created. It's a mountain that will have to be climbed by the body politic as a whole. It will require inspired leadership. It will require concerted national effort. But I believe that Kenya, if concerted effort is applied, can work any miracle in the political sphere that it wishes. It has done so over the last couple of years. It has turned its back on where it was. It has created some 30 new pieces of legislation apart from the Constitution. It has done remarkably well. But let's be sober about this. It's all on paper up to now. The test is in the next 8 months to maybe a year, depending on what the electoral date is. Only 2 of the 9 electoral commissioners have any electoral experience. They have no administrative chief yet. Many posts at both senior and junior level have still to be advertised, selected, and filled. And there are 2 major tasks that frighten any electoral management body sitting, waiting for them to confront. Boundary delimitation, I don't think I need tell you, is one of the most difficult, one of the most politically troublesome aspects of electoral management. Electoral district delimitation in a first-past-the-post system such as in Kenya can be crucial to the electoral outcome. And gerrymandering has long since gone into the language understood by anybody involved in elections. If you can draw the boundaries of the electoral districts to your liking, you can manipulate the result fairly well, and that is known by the body politic. And to draw boundaries for the new 290 constituencies is a technically complex and politically extremely delicate exercise. It has already defeated one body. I am sure it's going to cause a great deal of agony within the current EMB. And I'm saying this not to frighten them, but in an attempt to encourage the political role players of Kenya to give their electoral management body every bit of support that they possibly can, because they need it. They will not be able to do this job unless they have the support of the executive and the legislature of Kenya, quite apart from the support of the political parties and the electorate. They need it, and if they can't do it, the elections will fail. In fact, the elections will not be able to get off the ground. That is the first major task, with extremely tight timelines. They can be met, but only with the concerted support of all Kenyans. The second major obstacle before we get to polling day is voter registration. The electoral management body, wisely, has accepted an entirely new system of registration with a foolproof system of identification of people on the register to eliminate the dead men voting in 2012. But that is still on the drawing board. The whole exercise has still got to be conducted in the possibly only 8 months that are left. As at present advised, there are some 7 million Kenyans who do not have the requisite proof of nationality and therefore the right to vote. That's beyond the control of the electoral management body. Unless the political masters and the administration put their minds to it and sees to it that those 7 million Kenyans are given the requisite proof of citizenship, the elections will start with a tremendous handicap. You cannot exclude that large a percentage of your electorate and claim to have free and fair elections. We commented on that in the IREC report. I warn about it expressly and with great conviction again. Not only are there 7 million people excluded, but that exclusion is skewed. It excludes more women, more young people, and more members of minority groups than ordinary Kenyan men. It is a skewed, inadequate voters' roll at best that can be produced on the basis of the current data. That must be remedied. Excuse me. Once you have the boundaries drawn, once you have the voting system done, then you can start looking at the elections. I believe that you can do it. I believe that the technical wherewithal is available. I have met with the Electoral Commission. They know their job. They are not on top of it yet, but they know what they have to do. No thanks. They will get there, provided they get the support. We have left things very late. It is more than 3 years since the IREC report was delivered. It is more than 15 months, or some 15 months, since the Constitution was accepted, and things are very much in embryo still as far as next year's elections are concerned. There are therefore grounds for serious concern. But I also know from personal experience that however serious the challenges, if you have the body politic behind you, you can perform miracles in the electoral field. We did it in very much more difficult circumstances in South Africa in 1994. We did not produce technically perfect elections, but we produced elections that served the purpose of the moment, I believe that the Kenyan electoral management body can do much better than we did, provided they have the support of the electorate. They will require political backing, not only silent, tacit non-opposition. They will need vociferous support from the political leaders of the country, and they will need it from the outset now. They do not have to go with begging bowl to the political masters to ask for support. They are the tools put there by the political masters, and they must be enabled to do their job. Now, the referendum showed that it can be done. The referendum was an auspicious augury. There was vigorous debate, there was widespread participation, there was clearly enormous public interest, a high turnout, peaceful voting, competent counting, efficient tallying and announcing. Kenya can do it. It's done it with the referendum and can do it again. This time round, the job is very much more difficult. It's more technical. But looking forward, I think that I can say with complete confidence that having heard the Chief Justice yesterday, the rule of law is on the mend in Kenya. The culture of impunity is on the wane in Kenya. And once that is so, honest, free, fair, legitimate elections can be held in the latter half of next year. There must not be starry-eyed idealism about this. It's a tough task. You heard the Chief Justice and Professor Guy express misgivings about the commitment of some players in Parliament to the new Kenyan society. It would be folly to ignore the views carrying such obvious weight. And therefore, the message, not only from the electoral management body, but from all Kenyans of goodwill, should go out, that the time for the old-time ethnic politicking has passed. The time for the old-time political parties that are no more than the coattails of big men have passed. Kenyans have adopted a new vision of their society. They have given it a form in their constitution, and they must be enabled to manifest it in reality. It would also be folly not to take steps to preempt, prevent, or minimize the effects of possible electoral violence. We did it in South Africa, you can do it here. Peace committees throughout the country, local faith-based organizations and NGOs, human rights organizations, activists must be mobilized to afford the electoral management body early warnings of possible tensions in particular areas. One of the major handicaps faced by electoral management bodies in evolving democracies is that you do not have sufficient knowledge of what's happening at the grassroots. Civil society in Kenya must provide that network of information. I believe that the electoral management body, given that support by the political masters, given that support by civil society, are ready to face the challenge of next year's elections. It is now for the political leaders to play their part to make it possible. Thank you.